All right, guys, in today's video, we are gonna go over how to build the optimal workout, whether you are an adult who just wants to improve your overall longevity and health, or you're an athlete, a youth or adult recreational athlete who wants to improve their performance. We are gonna go over the entire spectrum from warm-up to conditioning, how to build the most effective workout for you. So before we get started, make sure you subscribe. I put out content like this weekly in terms of exercise and how to build a body that can not only perform well now, but withstand the test of time so you can have an ideal health span. So hit that subscribe button and let's get right into this. Okay, so to start our workout, we always want a warm-up. So usually my warm-ups are gonna last around 10 minutes and they're gonna start with foam rolling or some sort of soft tissue work. Now, why do we foam roll, or why do we do massage? The reason for this is as we move, as we're being active, or if we're not active and our muscles are getting shortened, we oftentimes build up these adhesions within the muscle. All these adhesions are a buildup of collagen fiber that essentially it intersects the muscle fiber. So what we want to do is get in there and massage that out, whether you have someone massaging you or you're using a foam roller or a lacrosse ball. We're essentially improving the long-term tissue quality, which is going to help us effectively shorten and lengthen our muscles. So we're preparing our body for movement by doing this foam rolling. Now, what muscles do we want to foam roll? We want to think about rolling out muscles that are typically overworked and short in our normal everyday life and during exercise. So for most people, it's going to be the quads on the front of the leg, the hip flexors, the adductors, or the groin muscles, the pecs, muscles like that we use a lot or that are chronically short. After we foam roll, we are gonna move into our static stretching. Now, this is a bit of a controversial topic. When do you static stretch? Should you static stretch at all? I like to incorporate static stretching or stretching that involves longer period holds after my foam rolling, but before the dynamic portion of the warm-up. So by static stretching, what are we getting out of this? So essentially, what we're getting out of this is acutely or short-term improvements in range of motion. So for example, if I stretch out my hip flexors and my quads, I am going to improve my range of motion in hip extension, which is going to allow me to more effectively perform exercises that involve hip extension, like a glute bridge or a deadlift, and I can more actively use the muscles that I'm using in those exercises, like the glutes, for example. So we want to think about picking the muscles, just like when we were foam rolling, picking the muscles that are often overworked or categorized as short. So again, that's going to be the hip flexors, the quads, the adductors, in most people. Now, moving into the last portion of the workout, we are going to get into our mobility and our dynamic movement. Now, the reason we put this at the end of the workout is to offset any of the potential negative effects that the static stretching may have on our performance during our workout, and to prepare our body for movements that we're going to see in our workout. So how do we format this portion of the workout? Well, I like to use the joint by joint approach. I have a full video, I'll put it in the description below, that goes over this entire process. But essentially, all we're gonna do is look at our body as a whole, look at the joints within our body, and categorize these joints as requiring either mobility or movement or stability. So going through the entire body, kind of seeing what each joint prefers, and then putting movements or exercises into that portion of the warm-up that reinforce, again, either mobility or stability. All right, now we're gonna get into the meat and potatoes of the workout. This is our power and our strength training. I like to add power training in prior to strength training for one main reason, and that is that our ability to move fast or move objects, light to moderate loads, quickly, which is essentially what power is gonna fatigue first. So we want ideally to get an optimal adaptation of power. We wanna train that before we train strength. Some great examples of power exercises you can implement into your workout are med ball throws. So you can do med ball slams, you can do throws against a wall. Plyometrics are a great option. I like to put these in for athletes in particular, as well as adults. The ability to jump and absorb force is super important. So plyometrics are a very great option for this. You can throw in exercises like the kettlebell swing, or even movements like an assault bike sprint, which we'll get into kind of at the end of this video. That's a great power exercise as long as we're moving fast. The key here, power training, is all it is moving low to moderate loads as quick as possible. Now, the second portion of this kind of meat and potatoes of the workout is our strength work, and arguably the most important part. So our strength work is going to involve using moderate to heavy loads for lower-ish rep ranges. So usually I'll program between 3 and 10 reps. It'll vary depending on someone's specific goals or their current ability level. But when doing our strength work, I like to think about incorporating full body movements that prioritize one portion of the body. So for example, a lower body exercise that is a full body movement would be a goblet squat. So this involves our entire body, but is prioritizing the legs, in particular the quads and the glutes. I also like to incorporate full body exercises that are upper body specific. So a push-up or a shoulder press or a row, a dumbbell row or a TRX row. These are all going to be upper body exercises that incorporate our core and portions of our lower body at times. Now, how do we structure these exercises within our workout? I like to use the tri-set method. So essentially, all we're going to do here is pick 6 exercises. We're going to do them 3 at a time. So we're going to start with the first 3. I like to alternate between all 3. So essentially they're like a superset, but with 3 exercises. I like to pick exercises that oppose each other, so they're not getting in the way of the other exercise. So for example, we'll incorporate a lower body knee dominant exercise, essentially any kind of squat or lunge. After that, we'll go directly into some kind of upper body pulling movement. And then we'll follow that up with a core specific exercise. This is a very efficient way to do your workout because you don't have to wait a very long period of time in between sets to go to the next exercise, because you're using opposing muscle groups that aren't going to be affected by that previous exercise. And now the following 3 exercises to finish up the workout, it's going to be kind of like the same pattern. So we're going to pick typically some kind of hinging or bridging movement that's going to involve the glutes and the hamstrings. We're going to follow that up with some kind of vertical or horizontal press. So think like a push-up, a bench press, a shoulder press, and then I'm going to finish up with some kind of accessory movement typically. So depending on who I'm training, this will vary based off of their goals. So this could be some kind of shoulder corrective exercise. This could be some kind of lateral hip or knee corrective exercise. This could be another core variation, or just something that they enjoy. If they're trying to improve their balance or something else, I like to incorporate this at the end of the workout. Now, the last portion of the workout is where I place the conditioning. And the reason I place it at the end of the workout is because this is going to be typically the most exhausting portion of the workout. Although it may be short, it's going to be very exhausting. So I don't want to put it before the power and the strength work, where form and technique is very important. I don't want people to be, or clients to be, exhausted when they go into these very form heavy and sometimes risky exercises if they were pre-exhausted. So I like to put this at the end of the workout. Now, this conditioning portion of the workout can look a number of different ways. We can use a number of different modalities. I like to either do some form of zone 2 training. So this could be a longer steady state exercise. So think maybe a 30-minute ride on the bike. This could be a jog, an incline, walk on the treadmill. You can go outside and go for a run. Anything that basically keeps your heart rate in that low to moderate range. And the reason I would do this is, number 1, to improve just aerobic capacity in general. If someone doesn't have the capacity to do higher intensity interval training or zone 5 cardio, I'll start them off here initially. And it's just something to improve our aerobic capacity at the end of the day. And now the second kind of conditioning I'll incorporate is zone 5 training. This can look a number of different ways. Typically, this is going to be very high heart rate training, no matter what modality or kind of protocol you go with. It's going to be a very high intensity. There's 2 main zone 5 kind of exercise, or I should say workouts, that I like to go with. Number 1 is going to be a max output workout. Now this is where that power comes back into play that we talked about earlier. This is a great way to train power at the end of your workout. Now a max output workout is going to involve very, very high intensity for a short period of time. So essentially an all-out sprint for 10 to 20 seconds, followed by typically 60 to 90 seconds of recovery. And now the second kind of workout I'm going to incorporate is more of a threshold or a VO2 max training session. Essentially all this is we are training your ability to handle a high level of work over a longer period of time. So usually what this will look like, a standard protocol, and you can do this on an assault bike, you can do this on an erg, you can do this on a treadmill, but all we're going to do is put together a really hard effort for anywhere from 3 to 5 minutes, and then we're going to follow that up with another 2 to 3 minutes of recovery until our heart rate gets back down, and we're going to repeat that typically 3 to 5 times. So again, we have our zone 2 training, which is going to be our low to moderate range, and then we have our zone 5 training, which is going to be our higher intensity work. All right, guys, and that's basically how you structure an optimal workout, whether you're an adult or you're an athlete. That's how you get the most bang for your buck out of your workout. And not only is it going to help you improve your performance, but it's going to help you prevent injury, not only in your sport, but in everyday life. Having a strong, resilient body that is capable of many different things is going to be a body that can withstand the test of time and perform well in your everyday life. So if you guys got some value out of this, I hope you did. If you got some value out of this video, go ahead and give this video a like. Make sure you subscribe. And if you want help building a bulletproof body, then go ahead and click the link. I'll put it down in the description, a link to my website, and you can book a call there and we can chat and see how I can help you build a body that can perform well now and well into the future. So I hope you guys enjoyed this one, and I will see you in the next video.